DJ Dewey Rock on the track.
Welcome to Immerse Podcast 360. I'm your host, Maserati. We want to thank you for tuning in. No matter where you are in this metaverse world, we're going to continue to bring you the best quality content and formula that we know how. We want to thank you for joining us on this lovely Wednesday night for Community Garden. And we're reaching into the Morehouse Parish Garden, and we're pulling out a beautiful flower, 47 plus years as an educator. This is being brought to you by Involved Social and Civic Club, where we understand the social and civic needs of love, learn, live, and laugh. We want to thank you for all the likes, shares, and subscriptions on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and now TikTok. We're going to reach into this garden, and do we have a flower for you guys? She is a graduate of Morehouse High School, the class of 55. She graduated from Grambling State University in 59, and she also has certifications and credits from Southwestern, Louisiana Tech, and Northwestern. She is a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated sorority. She is 43 plus years educator. She was a federal grant reader for the United States in her prime. She is a proud member of the GSU alumni, Paragon, NAUW, North National Alliance of University of Women. She's a proud member of the Eastern Star. She's a member of Shiloh Baptist Church in Beekman, Louisiana, and she was the director of the federal funding program for Morehouse Parish School Board. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you a pioneer, a jewel, and an icon in Morehouse Parish when it's come to education with these kids and helping the community. I give you none other than proud, a.k.a. Miss Ora Evans. How you doing, Miss Ora?
Oh, I'm fine.
We're so glad that you could stop in and join us today. You've been an icon and been in the Morehouse Parish all of my life, so I know you 50 plus years dealing with the community, but kind of share with the people about how it was growing up for Ora Evans.
Well, hello. I'm going to say that I am Ora Evans, and I was born in Beekman, a small town out in Morehouse Parish. I went to a little school called Shiloh Baptist School, and I was there from first grade to the sixth grade, with one teacher in the classroom, and all of us were learning. And we did learn at that time, I'll tell you that. But I left Beekman and went to the Morehouse High School, and I finished there like in 1955. And I want to tell you a little things about how I did get started, really. And it's really not bad to say. But I did work in the cotton field a long time when I was young in Beekman. My mother had 9 children, and you would think that we were unhappy, but we didn't know that we was poor, and we didn't know that a lot of people was unhappy, but we were very, very happy. We lived with my mother, father, and we had 9 children in a 2-bedroom house, 2 fireplaces, and we were happy, very happy. And one thing, when my mother would cook food, whatever she cooked, we ate it. We didn't ask and say, I don't want this and I don't want that. So we went on and finished high school. Then later on, it was time for me to go to college. Well, the scholarship they gave me when I went was $25. And boy, did I think that was some money. So I did get a scholarship to go to Grambling. When my father took me to Grambling, he didn't have enough money to pay what I needed to do. He left me there and told them to give her a job. This is all the money that I have. And I was fine. So they gave me a job, and then I went to work. And I finished school like in 1959, and I was hired in the middle of the year in January as a second grade teacher. And boy, I thought I had money. We was getting $250 a month, and we would take that money. We had friends, about 7 or 8 of us, all ran together. When Grandma had ball games, we would go to the Palace, a very expensive store in Monroe, and spend all our money on clothes and go to Grandma and show off. Boy, that was fun too. So we had a good time. Then later on, I got to be a coordinator for the school system. And After I got to be the coordinator, then later on, the superintendent made me the director of federal programs. And when I got that, then I got told to go to the United States Department of Education for the whole United States to read grants for education. We read grants, and we selected them where they were going to go to. Then later on, we had to go and get trained to work more. But I like to go back to how school was in the elementary school a little bit. And I know I'm going backwards and forwards.
It's okay. Go ahead.
In the elementary school, with all grades 1, 2, and 3, one teacher. And this is how you learn a lot. When the teacher was teaching second grade, I was in the first grade, so we were learning first and second grade skills. So when the teacher was teaching fourth grade, I was in grade 4, 5, and 6. So I learned when the sixth grade was learning. But we didn't know that was terrible. We just liked it a lot. But in the schools, during the summer, we had to work and pick the cotton. And I had a mean sister. We would be in the field picking cotton, and one little white fella would get on the fence and he would say, nigger, cotton picker. Boy, my mama wanted. My sister told my mom, I'm going to get him. But my mama would not let her get him. But later on, I just need to say this, it hurt. Later on, when we all got to be adults, this same guy was telling us, nigger, he had polio. And I got a chance to tell him he's working in the Morehouse Parish courthouse. And I said, boy, I want to whip your butt one time when you would say that to us. But then he laughed at it, but it was the truth. He would treat us bad. But I got a chance to tell him how we wanted to be there when he was telling us that. And he told us he was very, very sorry. But I'm going back to college now. When I was at Grambling, again, we were so poor. And when I would come home during the summer, and I'd go to Sunday school class, and people would give me food to eat at night. They would give us viands and all that good stuff, potted meat and great things, and we would eat that at night. But when he took me to Grambling, it was $33, and my dad had only $32.50. So I got a chance to really work hard and get paid, go to school and pay $33 each month to go to school. But then now that the Lord has blessed me, that I don't have to suffer for anything now. I've retired like in 1959, and my husband and I bought the school board off of the whole thing, and now we're just here enjoying everything. So that is my lifestyle, and thank you.
Right. And Ms. Evans, being a pioneer in Bible school and just speaking on your childhood, what are some of the differences you see from when you came up as a little girl compared to what's going on now?
I love to talk about that, because when my mother would cook, it was 9 children there, but all the neighborhoods would come and eat food with us. How did we have enough food? I don't know. And we didn't say, I don't eat beans, I don't eat peas. You ate whatever your mother would cook for you. And I guess that's why we have pretty little good health now, because we had to eat the right food. We had plenty of vegetables. Another thing I really need to mention, my daddy had 88 acres of land. And he never worked for any white folks. He had a truck that he would let me do the drive. I started driving when I was 13, and you were not supposed to. But my daddy told him, saying, we need the truck and she needs to drive. So I would pick up people in the truck, and we would charge them 25 cents a head. And we'd have 8 people in the back of the truck, and look how much money I made with 8 people with 25 cents. But it just didn't seem as bad as it is now. We were more happy than we are now. We had children were respectful. They yes ma'am and no ma'am, and they were just busy. The church was full. On Sunday school time, our children would be there, and we'd play all kind of games and think they would like it. And then when we went to high school, it was the same thing. We just enjoyed going to school. It was just fun. We liked our teachers, but when we got in trouble, what was so bad, the teacher would get us and they would spank us. Then they would call to our mama and dad and say, we had to get Mary today. I had to tell Mary, we had to get Ora today. And that was another spanking. So we had 2 spankings when we did things that we shouldn't have done in school. And we didn't do a lot. But let me mention the school bus, though. That's what's fun to me to tell. We were riding a square school bus. The bus was square. And we would be walking to school. And I remember the man named Chest Humphrey. He was nice white man. But they would throw paper at us and riding the bus. They would throw paper and kind of bothered us when we was walking. And that left a hurt on us. It left really a hurt on us, how they treated us. And then we still made it in spite of. Another story I was going to think about the school, how we had good principals, we had good teachers. All our teachers were certified teachers, and we knew each other, and they lived in the community. And it was just a strong thing in the past. And it's just different now. It's really different from when we came up. And it hurt. I think it's hurting our children, too. They can talk back to the teacher, and then the parents would agree with them, and we never had that kind of thing before. That's the way it was in the school. We had, and yes, another thing, they would cook food in the school, and we'd eat the food, watch them cook, and eat the food. We went to a church for the first few years, and it was everybody in the same room.
Right. And you I know you have so much that you can share with us, and you have a great history with Morehouse Parish. And just listening to you, racism was very thick when you were a little girl. And we're going to take an intermission, and we're going to come back, and we want to speak on the times and how they have changed for the better since you've been around. And we want to get some more insight on the city of Bastrop. That's why we invited you tonight, and we want to know the history and the culture of Old Scrap City. But we're going to take an intermission, and when we return, we'll be coming back with the icon, pioneer, and the educator of Morehouse Parish with the second chance vision of her business, Miss Ora Evans, when we come back.
Immerse 360 Podcasts focuses on uplifting rural and urban areas and dire conditions with no solutions by shedding light on pioneers, athletes, and political figures who have made an impression on Northeast Louisiana and surrounding areas. Immerse understands the social and civic needs to love, learn, live, and laugh. So, tap in every Sunday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. on all social networks and platforms. Always remember, Immerse 360.
Welcome back to Immerse Podcast 360. We are still here with Miss Ora Evans getting a history lesson here at the Evans Second Chance facility. We're here with Miss Ora Evans. Miss Evans, before we went to intermission, you were sharing some things about the history of Morehouse Parish and the blatant racism that you guys came up under. Kind of share with us how those times really were compared to now. And I know you see a change over the times in Bastrop, but how blatant was that racism back then?
System was a problem. Whites stayed in their place, and we stayed in ours. When we was working, we would drive. I would drive the truck for people to work in the cotton field. My mother would cook for the white folks, and she would be inside, and we would have to sit on the porch and eat from working in the cotton field. We would also have things about when we was in the field, we were making $2 a day, and we thought that was a lot of money. And sometimes they went up to $303 a day, and we was just pleased with that one. So we lived like that. And we have the white church and the black church like we have now. We had the white during the summer when we went to school. We went there so we could come back and work in the cotton field. We go in the fall, and in the summer when we did work in the white field, people white field. And it was just everything was segregated. We had our own church, and they had their own church. We had our own school, and they had their school. But one thing I need to say about the school, we were going to school in Beekman where they had like grades 1 through 6. But when we integrated the school, and Beekman children had to come to school there, they tore the school down and said it was too close to the pipeline. But we had gone there for 6 years, and it wasn't too close for us. But they tore it down and tore the school down. Another thing I need to tell you, my mother cooked in the cafeteria at the school at Beekman where we were going. And now they took the whole school, the whole cafeteria, and moved it to the big school at Beekman right now. And now this is where they storage all of the cooking things at it. And they said they were going to give it to me. You can have it and put it in your backyard. Mama worked there about 10 years in that building. But the building is still there. But they're trying to get rid of it and say that I can get it if I want to.
Right. Just looking back through history, taking a trip back. Let's come up to date. What changes have you seen from Bastrop from a culture and a racist standpoint? Do you see change from when you was a little girl, or is it still kind of stagnant?
I see a big change from when I came up into what is going on now. Look like to me we have teachers in the classroom, most of them are not certified, and they are teaching our children, and I think that's having a lot to make us get our test scores lower. And another thing I also see that the children were real manable, yes ma'am and no ma'am, but not now. They aren't doing that, and it's not teaching in the classroom, which they don't have to do it, but it's just that they were very manable children when I grew up. The mothers knew the teachers, and I always say mothers because the mothers are always out there doing it. But they knew the teacher, they knew the principal, and all of us worked together. We'd have meetings once a month. Parents would come to the meeting where the teachers are, and they would discuss us and what we need to work on. And it was just different now, and it's just a change program. I don't know. I hate to say this, but I don't know if integration hurt us than helped us, because teachers' scores was better when they sent them to the Baton Rouge. They would come back great scores, and now I just don't know what we're going to do with our system, with the school system and other things too. That's bad. But I think integration has really done something for us, and I'm just not knowing what we need to do about it. But I know we need to do something because it's not working.
And, that's strange that you said that. That's been a topic of discussion on the internet, and throughout various blogs about this integration thing. I'm listening to you, and I listen to my other elders. You guys telling me that you was a tight knit community. You knew the teachers, you knew the principal, everybody knew everybody. But it seems like once we integrated, we gave up a lot to be with people that really wasn't happy with being with you.
I agree with you on that. It seems like it has really hurt us a whole lot. If you look at the teachers now and look at the teachers you had before, we taught the whole child. If we would see one thing would tickle me a lot, that we would go to the grocery store, and you would see your child would see you in the store. Oh, that Mrs. Evans, hey, Miss Evans. And they go and gather their mama. Come, mama, here, Miss Evans. They would be surprised to see a teacher going shopping or something like that. But now, I really don't know why we need to go, but we need to go somewhere to make our system better than what it really is. It's just not working. That, like I said, I don't know if the whole child is being taught now. If the teacher just teaching English, she's the English teacher. But, I mean, there's a lot of things she can do, respectful type things that they need to be done. And I'm not sure that they are getting that in the classroom right now.
Well, definitely having the non-certified teachers, it's nothing against a substitute teacher or nothing like that, people. We're not saying that. But when it comes to the quality of the education, there's some things that a sub has no experience about it compared to a certified teacher. And Miss Evans, you've been 43 plus years educator, and you also was a grant writer for the United States and for Morehouse Parish school system. Let's get into the finances. And I know you were an educator and administrator during the peak when we had a $30 to $40 million budget. What do you think the income and the finances, why we lack so much now?
I'll be glad to talk about that. When I went to write grants in U.S. Department of Education, I came back with the idea of an after-school program, and I met the person who was in charge of the grant that was being written, and he asked me, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from a poor parish, Morehouse Parish." He said, "We're going to do some grants, and when you get home, you go back and y'all write it up." So we came back to Morehouse Parish for the school system. We wrote a $2.5 million after-school program, $205 million grant. And what we did with that grant, we put it in the classroom. After school is an after-school program that teachers would have taught. And then when they got through teaching, we found that the child had a problem with the math class. This is what that teacher worked on, that math. And teachers was getting paid to work. I think I suggest they paid $20 an hour, and I thought that was a lot of money at that time. But when I was over the federal program, we paid the teachers $20 an hour. And whatever problem that child was having in the classroom, we would feed them, and the bus would wait for them, and they would work just on those skills that they were having trouble in the classroom. And I hope that's what we're doing now. We still have the after-school program, I understand, but it may not be as much money that I had gone and got from Washington, D.C., $2.5 million. And then later on, he told me there was going to be a reading program grant. So the next year, they wrote the reading program grant. So I think I've helped the parish quite a bit with some things. But now I'm retired, and I just look at the school system and trying to see what way can I help as being 85 years old.
Right. You definitely have helped out. I mean, being a child and coming up in the public school system, your name was very prevalent back then when it came to handling business for Morehouse Parish. Do you feel no one really wants the responsibilities you carry? Because back then you carried 5 or 6 titles and people complaining about one. Do you think that's a problem now? It's more about the check than the quality of the job? Now,
I feel there's a group of some people are working strictly for the money. I do feel like that, but the majority are not. So I'm thinking that's hurting the children a lot of what we're doing. We're putting teachers in the classroom not certified. But the money that we're getting, look like we could do something else with it. That's what I'm thinking, that we could do something else with it and to give it to the children and not, I hate to say that because I was a supervisor, and give it to the higher education of people. That's the way I feel about it. Something about that grant that I need to tell you about. We got, oh yes, thank you. We got this school system when I was the director of the federal program. We got national advancement and things that we got a certificate. We came here and got it in Washington, D.C. No, we got it in Canada. That's where we got it from, in Canada. And I have pictures to show that we got national recognition for this little parish in Morehouse. That's how we got a chance to write the after-school program, $2.5 million grant. I just think that it's just something that we need to do to work on. We do have some money, but look like to me we need to let it go some other kind of way.
Right, getting a qualitative perspective from you, and that's what we're getting today, people, a qualitative perspective. 40-some plus years, she know what she's talking about. And one thing, Ms. Evans, I wanted to address when it comes to the school board and school system. We having issues. We didn't change superintendents too many times in the last 7 years. We started changing principals. We started changing, once again, by the change head football coach. Do you think this lack of stability has taken this community down?
Well, I'll tell you what I saw, and I may not need to say it, but I'm going to say it. I went to a school board meeting last Thursday night, and they were selecting the chairman for the school board. And I saw race issue, and I saw one of my students up there as a school board member, and the school board members are split straight down the line, black and white, separate, and they all thinking different. And how can we help our school system with the system like that divided? It's a black side and a white side. Now that hurt me. I went home and worried about that a little bit, and I started to call 2 preachers I thought that was really strong people. But I didn't do it. But I really think about that. It's just a race issue on that school board that's not very good at all. If it's there, it's hurting the children. If the head leaders are divided like that, with black and white, one all black go together and all white, that just doesn't look good. That's not a leading position for me to think about it. And it did hurt me when I saw that meeting the other night. And I do have I can talk with the superintendent. He'll listen to me too. So, I mean, we just had a problem with race here right now, and I thought we had kind of got over that years ago, but we have not. I have seen it happen more than one time.
Well, a lot of it is, I don't disagree with anyone when it comes to what they prefer for their child when it comes to education, but I think a lot of it is the crime has gotten out of hand, and they use that as a catalyst to push the race card and separate from us. I think if we get the city and get our children back under control, they can't push those buttons anymore. So I want to ask you this, Ms. Evans. with this discipline, with the kids in the crime and bear script, where do we start with that? You know, you've been here 40-some years, educated. Your son was on the police department. Your husband retired from the electric company. You know, and you touched hands with a lot of people. Where did we go wrong, and why is this crime so high?
I really don't need to say this, but I have to say it. We've turned away from our education system a lot. We've turned, and we're going another way that I can't see us going this way. We need to put more money into our classrooms and have more time with our children to teach them what's going on in more than just in the city or the town we're in. But they need to get some basic things. And let me just mention, I was over math years ago. And now, the way they're teaching math, I understand. If you want to know how much is 6 times 2, you'll put 2 times 2, 2 times 2, and you get it, and that's 6. But what about, we had to learn our multiplication facts a long time ago. Now they don't have to do it. They have to think it out. That's what they're doing. If they want 3 times 3 is 9, do 3 times 1 and 3 times 1 and 3 times 1, and you get 9. Who wants to go through all that? But we had to learn those multiplication facts. We had to learn how to say good morning and good evening to people. We had to learn how to use a telephone, hello, and all this good stuff. And we didn't have all this extra stuff that children have now. They have everything. They have telephones in the first grade and second grade. Why do they need a phone? Why do children need to carry a phone to school and all this stuff? We didn't have any phones, and we were learning, and we're not dumb right now. So I think they've done a great job a long time ago, but what's happening now is needs to be some changes made.
I think the phone, Miss Evans, because I'm still relatively young, and I can attest to this, the phone is raising the kids. It's nothing wrong with technology, and don't get me wrong, the advancement of a civilization is what the Creator designed it to do to further advance. But I don't think technology should be the ultimate carrier and teacher of the next generation. And I think that goes back to the lack of discipline and lack of education. The parents don't understand the math as you speak, and it becomes frustrating. So we allow the kids to learn from the computer, but in the process of them going to the computer, algorithms and hashtags take them to a whole different place. So hands-on education is no longer in existence. They don't even have books, Ms. Evans.
You all won't believe this, but I have a little grandson, and he's 13 months old. He on the phone, hello on the phone. What does that child need a phone for? But he has a little phone that he said, hello. And I mean, they need teachers. They need some love. They need some attention to and touch them. They aren't being touched right now because they have the computer lab, and all this good stuff. But they're not getting children love like they need to get it. Let the child feel that you care for him, not just sitting there by himself. Go and touch him. Not gonna hurt you. Touch a child. He can be not clean, but you need to touch him. Let him know you love him. I'm talking to classroom teachers now. You need to love those children, and they're doing the best they can do with the parents that they have. Parents are not doing things they should do sometimes. They miss school and they don't help get them the meal. I know we feed them meal at the school. But it's just children need some love, they need some attention, and stop with the computer. I see computers at church, the children playing down the computer while church is going on. Now, you know that's not right. They can't concentrate on it. I mean, these big children with their computers in the church. I see that probably about every Sunday. So what is going on with us? We've got all these things going on with this computer stuff that it's hurting us more than helping us, I think.
And I think the phone has broken down our attention span. We can't go 5-10 minutes without looking at that phone. Even teachers in the classroom have been found guilty of this. They have to check their phone, check Facebook or what have you. And in the process of us getting caught up in technology, they're dumbing the kids down through their education.
When I'm leaving home in the morning, I'm about a half a mile from my office space. And I bet you I see about 5 or 6 men walking the streets with telephones and pants hanging off their back end. I see that. But the one thing you need to know now, I didn't tell it, I should have told it earlier. The school board that we have, we push it the whole school board. We own the school board now. That's what we own. That's where we are right now. There's one that we used to go to. Now I have it.
And that's something I want to speak about. People don't understand when it comes to leadership. Leadership never retires, people. Leadership may retire from a career, but here's Miss Evans. has a beautiful idea. Like she said, she done purchased the old school board buildings, and she called it Evans Second Chance. But here's the problem I have with the community. Why won't we come and support it? And that's something that we lack in Morehouse Parish. We don't support our own. And people say it's nothing for the kids to do this and that. But here's a whole building that has several different things. You can come in here and make a movie. She has it set up like a real studio. Tyler Perry don't have nothing on every second chance if you just come and look at it. So we got to stop complaining about not having facilities and places to go when you have leaders that are steady purchasing these old buildings and trying to keep the city beautified. But you guys got to participate and come out and see Evans Second Chance. We're going to take another intermission, but when we come back, we're going to ask Miss Ora, what is her vision with Evans Second Chance? And when she first purchased the building, what was her intentions with trying to revitalize the city and have some place for the young folks to go? We'll be right back, and we're here with icon, pioneer, the Rose of the Garden, Miss Ora Evans, when we return. Welcome back. We're still here at Second Chance Building, the Evans Second Chance. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Stepping Stones LLC and Burchell Family Insurance Agency. We're still here with Miss Ora Evans, one of the beautiful flowers we're pulling out of this community garden, y'all. When I tell you a beautiful person, not just physically, but in spirit, and she is the epitome of what an AKA should be for all of you AKAs out there. She is the epitome of ski-wee. Miss Ora, tell us, what was your vision when you bought the old school board building, which you call Evans Second Chance? What was your envision and your intentions with that?
Now, why you think it got to be Evans Second Chance? That was a reason why we named it Evans Second Chance. Evans Second Chance is a reason for why it is like it is today. When we had the school board office here for Morehouse Parish, they wouldn't let us come in the front door. We had to go around to the side door to go to office space to see the superintendent and all that stuff. We had to just do the worst thing. You park right at different places you could park, but you couldn't come in the front door for this building. So when it came up for sale, I didn't know I was going to buy it. It said that I had said, well, I just bid $30,000. And I called school board and said, what happened? We gave you the building. So they gave me the building, and I said, okay, now we can go in the front door. We could not go in the front door for the school board. We had to go to the side door or the back door. It was just that bad it was. So
you bought this building from these buildings from past, we can say past trauma and how you was treated working here. You had to go to certain doors and you, oh man.
Could not come in here at all. No, you had to go to the side door and they let you, and the door locked and they let you in there. But we couldn't go to the front door. So now that's why it's called Evans Second Chance. It has history. It does.
And people, and this is a thing that, why we have the podcast, we're trying to shed light on Bear Script, the positive light, but you can't have the positive without the negative. You don't believe it, go out there and unplug your battery, take the negative post off and see where it crank, then you put it back on and take the positive post off and tell me where it crank. So you got to have the negative with the positive. And Miss Ora has brought that all into fruition. And the reason she bought this building, y'all, is because she's trying to protect her feelings and emotions about this place. Because anybody that went through the things she went through throughout Morehouse Parish, when I retired, I'd have probably been getting the hell up out of here. But she's still here, y'all. And Sister Evans, kind of share with us, how has it been retired and steady seeing the things that's going on? How do you feel inside about that?
Well, it's a long story. It's a long story. It is. I just had something happen to me today. Some lazy, negative people, but I treat them right. I don't care how they do me wrong or he does wrong things. I still try to help people that really need help. And you have to. This is getting it church-wise too. You have to forgive people for what they do. You cannot hold things against folks. I think that has done a lot to me to live the way that I'm living and from the way that I came up. At that time, I didn't know I was poor. I'm not rich now at all. But I'm comfortable. I don't have to come to work if I don't want to. I don't have to do it because I get that retirement check, and I feel comfortable with that. And I'm just living and trying to help. Still hadn't given up helping Morehouse Parish. I'm still trying to help and make things better. But it's a hard time. It's a strong thing to do right now. It's just something that I really think about it, and I really worry about it. How can we make some changes in this parish? And it's just going to take a lot of work and people loving each other better than what we do. And not look at race, look at the person who they are.
You know, from just a qualitative and being a law-abiding citizen, what are some of the advice that you may have for the city, for the mayor office, when it comes to some of the changes that we need to see in Morehouse Parish?
Okay, we have a group of people called Keep Morehouse Beautiful, and I'm on that committee. One time I was the only black on there, but now that I brought people. What we are trying to do is keep Morehouse beautiful, is to meet with the mayor and not try to condemn her or punish her or anything, to ask us how can we help. Let me give you an example of one thing we have right here in the parish and also in the city. We were talking about the street lights, a lot of them off, and they're just not taking care of them. So what we did, we met with her and talked about some things that we need to help do to try to make things better. And we told her some things that we need to do, like some area like the parks, and I see she's done that. But there are some things that we're going to meet with her like next week sometime. I understand that she gave us a date, that we're not going to be a criticizing group, not going to be that tight. We're going to say some things to her that we need to do to make this town better, to help her in what she's doing. Not to tell her what she's doing, but to help her, because it needs a lot of work done in here. The houses are horrible how you look on the streets and see them. We feel that we could do something better about that. And she's going to meet with us about 2 weeks from now, and we're going to work on that to see what can we do to help. It's about 10 of us, 1 man and 2 men and rest of the ladies, and we have a lot of suggestions and things we're doing. We have picked up paper on the streets out there, and we have done that more than one time. And when we've tried to find a house that's they done some work with it that doesn't look good or something, and they fixed it, we'll give them a award out there in the yard, a yard sign. We're doing some things that we can make this city more of a positive way than what we are doing.
Right. And I see at 85 years old, y'all, let me tell you something. At 85 years old, she's still out here. She come to this building 3 times a week. Doesn't have to, but to feel like she's still in the game, still in the mud with the community. She gets up, dresses up, and comes up here every day. And if you're sitting out here 25, 30, 40 years old and you complaining, you need to come see Second Chance, see Miss Evans, and she can show you that, baby, you shouldn't be complaining. You got a lot of life to live, and you wouldn't know that she 85. And for y'all that out here that don't know her, Miss Evans 85 years old, and she walk better than me at 45, And this is what we trying to do. We're trying to catch our pioneers and our leaders before they pass on. Because one thing I learned about Bastrop, y'all love when people pass on to give them flowers, but y'all won't give them while we living. And that's why we dipping in this garden, and we going to pull out this rose, and we going to give her flowers today. Miss Evans, before we let you go, we want to know from the heart, what do you want to tell the city of Bastrop from the heart from Miss Ora Evans?
I just want to say that I love Bastrop. I love it, so I was born, and I got all my education here. And I just want us to grow and love each other and work on it and do the things that we need to do to make it better. Get people that are certified, who's comfortable with their job, and they know what they're doing, and they're doing the job. So we just want to see that, to see everybody doing what they can do in a positive way and not a negative way in Bastrop, City of Bastrop. That's it.
Yes, ma'am. And we appreciate you stopping through and sharing this history lesson with us. We know it's a short time, but we just wanted to visit with you. You've been on my mind. I said we got to get Miss Evans. She's a beautiful rose in the garden, and she's a pillar and an icon. And we just had to stop through and give you your flowers while you living. And that's what Immersed is all about.
Thank you very much. Thank you a lot. Enjoyed it.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, I'm your host, Maserati. We want to thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Community Gardening. Boy, did we pull out a rose. This portion of the show was brought to you by Involve Social and Civic Club, where we understand the social and civic needs of love, learn, live, and laugh. Until next time, y'all stay involved. Y'all stay encouraged. And most of all, y'all stay immersed. We out of this thing.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Samir Ray Sean. Come on and keep it real with me, y'all. I know the streets, yeah, they still call, but we tryna fall into it, fall. See you through the struggle, they tryna kill us all. Come on and keep it real with me, y'all. I know the streets, yeah, they still call, but we tryna fall into it, fall. See you through the struggle, they tryna kill us all.
Can you remember being little kids? Running the streets from block to block, having fun as youngsters that soon stop in flooded rocks. So the streets got took by killers and crooks that look